Dear friends, welcome to another episode of Geopolitical and Military News. In this video, we will discuss a plan prepared by NATO for the creation of corridors in Europe that will allow, in case of a military emergency, up to 300,000 alliance soldiers to be quickly sent to the border with Russia. When NATO was created in 1949, its objective was quite clear: to create a military alliance capable of facing Stalin's gigantic Red Army on equal footing, which at that time had more soldiers, planes, and armored vehicles than all European countries combined. Therefore, the new alliance needed to include the United States, the only fully nuclear power at that time. For decades, NATO perfectly fulfilled its role, preventing through deterrence the Soviet Union from attacking any member country. But in 1991, the Soviet Empire, the only reason for the creation of the alliance, collapsed dramatically, leading many to question the existence of the alliance. However, what happened was exactly the opposite, with a large number of countries that had previously been trapped within the sphere of influence of Soviet Russia showing interest in joining the alliance. The reason for all this interest was quite simple: the fear that Russia would rise from the ashes of the Soviet Union and return to being the imperialist and expansionist power it had been in the past. And so, based precisely on this argument, nations like the three Baltic countries, Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, and Hungary hurried to join the alliance while Russia was still rising from the rubble. All the fears that motivated these countries to join NATO materialized in 2008 when Russia invaded the small country of Georgia, militarily occupying about 20% of that territory since then. And in 2014, another confirmation came that Russia intended to return to its old expansionist policy by invading and annexing the Ukrainian region of Crimea and starting to finance a separatist war in Donbass. As if all these signs were not enough, in 2022 came an even stronger one, with Russia launching a massive invasion of Ukraine, aiming to annex Donbass and the rich Ukrainian regions in the south, along the Black Sea. This second invasion of Ukraine definitively ended any doubt regarding Putin's expansionist appetite, leading historically non-aligned nations such as Finland, neutral since 1945, and Sweden, neutral since 1812, to decide to join NATO. For Finns and Swedes, if Putin invaded Ukraine with the sole purpose of annexing lands, he could easily do the same with them, with the only way to prevent this being through joining NATO. However, despite NATO having 3.5 times more soldiers, 4.5 times more planes, and twice as many armored vehicles as Russia on paper, all this gigantic force is spread across 32 countries on 2 different continents. This means that if Putin is sufficiently fast and forceful, he is theoretically capable of advancing through some NATO member countries in Eastern Europe before the alliance can concentrate its gigantic force to counterattack. Although it is a highly unlikely scenario, many top members of Vladimir Putin's regime and many Russian propagandists insist that a lightning Russian attack against some of the more peripheral NATO member countries, such as Finland, the 3 Baltic countries, and Romania, could, under certain conditions, not lead to a joint response from the alliance, or if there were a response, it would be slow, weak, and lacking the will and determination to expel Russian forces. To face Putin in a possible lightning conflict in Eastern Europe, the alliance needs a plan to quickly and safely bring its best soldiers, vehicles, and equipment to the Russian border. With this in mind, the alliance is finalizing plans for the creation of maritime corridors in the North Sea, Baltic Sea, and Mediterranean Sea, and land corridors throughout Europe, aiming to allow a fast and safe flow of troops, vehicles, weapons, ammunition, and logistical supplies. According to a report by The Telegraph, NATO is in the final phase of expanding ports and naval bases in the Netherlands, Greece, Italy, and Norway to allow the landing of tens of thousands of troops, equipment, and vehicles at once. From the ports in Norway, alliance troops can quickly spread through Sweden and Finland, a country that shares a direct border with Russia. From Dutch ports, the alliance can quickly reach the Baltic countries, which also share a direct border with Russia. And through ports in Italy, Greece, and Turkey, the alliance would protect the Mediterranean and its southern flank, also being able to send troops to Romania and Bulgaria in the Black Sea from there. At the NATO meeting in Vilnius in 2023, it was decided that these ports and corridors should be capable of allowing the movement of at least 300,000 soldiers, all of them duly accompanied by thousands of vehicles, armored vehicles, aircraft, weapons, ammunition, and supplies that will reach conflict points in Eastern Europe mainly by rail, with highways also playing an important role. With the Russian invasion of Ukraine increasing in intensity, even including the opening of a new front of combat in Kharkiv, and with Russia raising the tone and intensity of its threats against the alliance, NATO knows that the prospect of a war against Russia, even if limited to a more peripheral member country, cannot be completely ruled out. Therefore, the alliance needs to be prepared to respond to this scenario with all its might. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Until next time.